I think all of us realize that if we fail on taxes, that's the end of the Republican Party's governing majority in 2018. I can't imagine how he could be successful with Nancy Pelosi running the House. They'd try to impeach him pretty quick, and it'd be just one constant investigation after another. So it's important that we pass tax reform in a meaningful way. If we don't, that's probably the end of the Republican Party as we know it.
Some unvarnished words there from Senator Lindsey Graham, actually on Brian Kilmeade's radio show. He's joining us today on the Roundtable. I want to start out with Katie Walsh, because you brought this up as well. You know the White House well. You worked there. And tax cuts really have become the glue that is holding the Republican Party together right now.
Absolutely, but it falls in line with everything the president's done the last 7 months. I mean, we're going to announce, I think we just forecasted that we have 3% growth GDP in the third quarter. We've had that the last 6 months. It's the best 9-month stretch for the economy in 3 years. Unemployment's at an all-time low. The Dow's at an all-time high. So it coincides with everything the president's been working on for 9 months. And I think when this gets done, we'll have a very good story to tell in 2018.
I'm waiting for that tweet. Thank you, President Obama, for setting me up for great. I'm just saying you can't deny it.
Check now.
Here's the thing what Graham says that people have to understand, and Democrats are running around saying, oh my God, the possibility here. Fact of the matter is the Republican Party is not imploding. When you control 31 governor's mansions, when you control legislatures, House, Senate, and the White House, more importantly, the judiciary, you're not imploding. Yeah, you have these internal fights, but this is about power. This is not about principles or character or morals and values. They want to maintain power. Trump is the vessel that allows them to do so. And so they'll fall in line. Jeff Flake, that wasn't courageous what he did.
He was going to lose.
Courageous is to still run. Courageous to say, I'm going to campaign around Arizona and speak the truth. And if I lose, that's fine. I'm not giving anybody props for giving a speech and cutting and running. No, you stand up and you stay in the office. You challenge them. That's how you do it. But people have to stop thinking the Republican Party is dead. They're not. And when you see what's happening in North Carolina, what is sadistic what they're doing, what is undemocratic, with Wisconsin, those states, we ignore what's happening in these states. Texas, 5 times they lost in the federal courts over voter ID, cost $3 million. It is real what they're doing in the states.
And that corresponds to Congress as well. Let me bring this to Brian Kilmeade. The president does command strong majorities in the House right now. They're staying behind him. Right now, most Republican senators as well. The problem is no one really knows what's inside this tax bill.
Right, and I think what I think is encouraging if you're a Republican is the fact that the House and Senate and White House have been meeting behind closed doors before they rolled it out. So they know a lot of details. They're timing it for the right time when they come out. There's some disagreements. But back to your original question, the reason why Lindsey Graham is talking in a cataclysmic fashion because he knows it's going to pass. Know why? That's because of President Trump. It's because each individual lawmaker is on the clock in 2018. Whether you're going to be up in a little while or you're going to be up in 2018 or 2020, they have to do something or else they have nothing to run on. So they're not doing it for President Trump. They're not even doing it for their party. They're doing it for their own careers. That's why I think it'll get done.
And that's the problem with the Republican Party. I think that's bearing out this year. I mean, they control everything. They can't get, health care done. There wasn't even a plan. It's like the emperor is not wearing any clothes. And if they can't even get this tax thing done, then they really have nothing to run. And I agree with that. At the same time, however, I think that this is a moral test for the Republican Party. And I think they're going to fail, unfortunately, because in order to get this tax deal done, from everything that we've heard, it's going to add to the deficit. Now, the Republicans have always said that's something that they didn't want to do. So it's not going to actually bring tax relief to the middle class. It's actually, from what we know, going to help the top 1%. I think it's if you make over $733,000 a year, you're actually going to benefit from this plan. And so what does that say about what the Republican Party is really all about?
To me, be careful what you wish for. I mean, this is just like much of the pressure that the Obama administration put on the Democrats in Congress in 2009, said you got to pass something. We need to have something to run on. They pass Obamacare and they lose almost every single office in this. This tax bill, to me, right now, all the polls show it's very unpopular, the elements that we know. 80% of the benefits of this tax bill go to the top 1% of the country. So it's not going to help the working class, those voters that are going to decide this election. But I think fundamentally, Lindsey Graham is wrong about one thing. One, the Republicans hold all the levers of power in this. I think he's wrong that the Republican Party, whether or not they pass this tax bill, is dead. The Republican Party, as we know it, the party of Ronald Reagan, the party of George W. Bush, is gone. The party now is the Donald Trump party. 80% or 85% of the Republican voters, regardless of what the Republicans say in Washington, that walk around the halls of the Capitol and say what they think the Republican Party is, that party is long gone. And they have to come to terms with the idea this is the Trump, Steve Bannon party that is more welcoming to somebody like Roy Moore than it is to somebody like Jeff Flake.
And George, what they have to accept is that you had this alliance of white conservative evangelicals aligning with white nationalists, white supremacists like Gorka and like Bannon. And what interests me is I'm looking at all these Trump voters and I'm going, at what point will you wake up and realize you're getting screwed? Not just because, one second. They're getting screwed when you look at the Affordable Care Act because they're benefiting from it. They're getting screwed when this man stood up and talked about the opioid crisis, the most he did this week was hold a news conference and say we're going to have a few more ads. They're going to get screwed on the tax deal as well. Look, broke is broke. And some of the brokest, poorest counties in America, 2/3 of them are in Republican districts.
Katie.
They're going to get screwed.
Well, I don't know how you possibly say these people are getting screwed. Unemployment's at an all-time low. National Association of Manufacturers has come out and said if this tax cut goes through, more people will hire jobs. In 2003, I think, in President Bush's tax cut, in the next 5 years, 7.8 million jobs. Happen.
But then we take a big dip.
When these people have jobs, when their pocketbooks are better, when hopefully we pass repeal replace and their premiums go down again.
But however,
these people will vote for the president.
That means nothing if you're dying from opioids.
We're going to take a big hit in the economy. There may be an initial bump.
Based on what? Who's telling you that?
There have been a number of studies that came out this week that looked at, and actually, quite frankly,
I have not seen one.
But there's no way. I got to interrupt because President Trump actually has tweeted about Russia and the dossier. It didn't last. Never seen such Republican anger, unity as I have concerning the lack of investigation on Clinton-made fake dossier. Now $12 million. So much for the discipline.
Right. You know, I'd like to get back. So let's talk about tax reform. Matt, I just want Matt and Roland. I just got to say a couple of things. Steve Bannon and Sebastian Gorka, white supremacists. I've never met Steve Bannon, but Sebastian Gorka, absolutely not. I don't think Steve. I think that is a statement that I think is repugnant.
When you say that Breitbart is the home of the alt-right, which aligns with white supremacists, I am trying to, and when we saw in Charlottesville, don't you dare try to cover this thing up.
I'm not covering anything up. They're not white supremacists, and you got to watch that term. That is a term that is a new buzz term, and it just shuts people down.
Actually, white supremacy is not a new buzz term. It's older than America since the beginning of America.
Can I just finish up on the tax reform? Matt, I don't know what you mean the little people are getting screwed. I'll give you from what we know.
I said 80% of the benefits of the tax bill are going to the top 1%.
But the top 10%, 80%.
I'm just saying that's what the
I'll give you an example. I'll just give an example of how, from what we know, George, and you're right, we don't know everything. For what we know, if you make $12,000 a year right now, you're being taxed. Under his plan, you're not taxed up until $24,000 a year. So that right there helps people that are trying to do their best to get through.
$12,000 pays an income tax.
So George, here's the thing. There's no
income tax
I think the Trump people and the Republicans can talk about the stock market and they can talk about the job rate, but there's no relationship between the perception of Donald Trump and the perception of the Republicans and what's going on in the economy. There is no relationship. Donald Trump is disapproved of by 60% of the country.
President Trump was the same guy in the last 25 years, he would argue, as he is today. And he was elected November 2016 because people wanted to
You know what? We're going to hit the computer. We're out of time.